Dude,
Brandon's offended.
All right.
You don't think?
That's
all right, everyone. I would like to call to order the August 13th regular school committee meeting. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Flag is over Christmas shoulder. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just bow our heads for a moment of reflection and gratitude. So much great things going on in our community this summer, and certainly this week celebrating our 350th anniversary. There's lots to be grateful for. We live in Compton. Thank you all. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 2.1 through 2.5.
I'd like to pull out 2.4.
I'd like to pull out 2.4.
Yeah, question on that.
All right, I know that Dr. Mitchell shared that we would know the final enrollment at the start of the school year.
We haven't done the rollover yet. And we've only done the rollover for Parent Square, so Jack and I can start sending messaging tomorrow, but not for our student information system. We are still registering students and unenrolling students, et cetera. So we never have firm enrollment numbers until that first week of school.
All right, is it possible to share that enrollment with this committee once it is finalized?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, why would we be voting on, why would we be approving enrollment when we have nothing?
Yeah, there's just nothing in there. So, I mean, you're not wrong to just remove it. So it would be approving items 2.1 through 2.3 and then Article 2.5.
Yeah, because we got nothing.
Perfect.
We're not.
Do I have a motion?
So
Move. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. I know we're waiting for a few more folks, but we will start. I'm going to ask that item 8.1 be bumped up in the consent agenda before public input. And that is to vote to approve the school committee scholarships that were put forth before this committee by the scholarship subcommittee. I believe that there was no feedback as of July 11th when our deadline was for committee recipients. Is that correct, Mariah? Do you know off the top of your head? No dissension?
Correct.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the school committee scholarships?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
All in favor? Aye. Excellent. The motion carries 4-0. So at this point in the program, as I've shared with many that I've interacted with today, it's my favorite school committee meeting of the year because we get to honor not only the hard work of the teachers, the administrators, but also our community and the families and children that are recipients of tonight's scholarships. So it's really a collective effort. I always like to use the term one hand washes the other and both wash the face. And without the families and their engagement and their involvement in their children's lives, I don't know how this all plays out. I know that it's important to have that three-prong, as many people in this community have shared. You have the teachers, you have the student, and then you have the families. So tonight's recipients were all very deserving. Before we get to honoring them, I want to thank the contributors to the scholarships. There's the Doris C. Simmons Memorial Education Scholarship, the Anthony Raposa Scholarship, the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship, the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship, and the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship. And it is really the donors and the contributors to these scholarships that are the driver of this program. The school is just a small piece in this. This body is just a small piece in this. It's really those families reaching out and saying, we want to be a part of continuing the education of the students within this community. Everybody that is a Little Compton resident can apply to these scholarships. We continue to see growth in it. We would love to see, 30 applicants every year. We were just over 10 or 11 this year. We were into the double digits this year, which is encouraging. So about a third of the students that are graduating in a variety of high schools applied. And this was the cream of the crop. And let me also preface, and Michael sits on the subcommittee with me, this is not just a grade-driven outcome. I'd say all of the students do excellent academically. It's really what they're doing outside of the classroom, coupled with the work that they do inside of the classroom. So without any further ado, I know we have some recipients that are not present tonight, but still we are going to honor them. They may be watching via YouTube. If you are not present tonight, the scholarship check will be mailed to your address that I believe, I don't know, was it on the, everything's blacked out. So that's another thing. Totally anonymous. We don't, we don't have faces. We don't have pictures. We don't have names. We literally just have your stats, what your principal has shared with us, what your teachers have shared, what you have shared in your write-up in terms of why you would be a good candidate for any of the scholarships. So first up, we have the Doris E. Simmons Memorial Educational Scholarship. Doris E. Simmons was a lifelong resident of Little Compton, an educator, and a member of the Little Compton School Committee. This recipient is deserving of the scholarship at the sole discretion of the school committee. Nathan Chartier's drive to succeed as a business owner while also serving his community has been demonstrated during his 4 years at Fort Smith High School. He successfully completed the PHS Career and Technical Education Academy for engineering, design, and programming, gaining valuable hands-on learning experience. Nathan's focus and determination were evident during his time on the baseball team. He continually served his community through his church and as a volunteer coach. Nathan plans to pursue a degree in business and finance at the University of Rhode Island. It is with great pleasure that we present the Doris E. Simmons Memorial Education Scholarship to Mr. Nathan Chartier. Nathan is not present tonight, but we will make sure that this gets to his family. And congratulations, Nathan, if you are watching at home. Next, we have the Anthony Raposa Scholarship. This recipient should demonstrate good character and be recommended by the principal of their high school. At Fort Smith High School, John Paul Faria excelled academically and was a 4-year member of the tennis team, serving as the team captain. He achieved the level of Eagle Scout and is a longtime participant in his church. To quote part of his recommendation letter from PHF, each role exemplifies his strong commitment to growth and community service. John Paul is off to the University of Rhode Island, where he plans to study business. It is with great pleasure that we present the Anthony Raposa Scholarship to Mr. John Paul Faria. Great job, parents. All right, our next, the Wilson Vogel Coombs family has been very instrumental and a driver of this. They are the next 3 scholarships. Their family are not only just great stewards of the community, but they're great stewards of the continued educational outcomes of our students within the community of Little Compton. Some of their members are here tonight. Ron, would you care to say a few words?
No, it's an honor to be here to meet the recipients of the scholarships. We wish them all success, and I hope they go forward understanding that there's no such thing as failure.
Love that. Thank you, Ron. First, we will present the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship. Leslie Briggs Coombs taught at Harvard University and was the first president of Durfee Tech now UMass Dartmouth. This recipient is an all-around good scholar athlete. Emily Babola is a very engaged student athlete who maintained excellent academic standing throughout high school while playing 3 sports: soccer, track, and lacrosse. She also actively volunteers both locally and globally while finding time to babysit and work for the family business. Emily is planning to attend Bentley College, where she will play lacrosse. It is with great pleasure that we present the Leslie Briggs Coombs Memorial Scholarship to Miss Emily Babola. Next, we have the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship. Ruth Coombs Bogle was a first grade teacher for 25 years and a major contributor to Christian education at the United Congregational Church. This recipient plans to pursue a degree in education. Kathleen Procopio has demonstrated academic excellence throughout her years at Fort Smith High School while remaining active in her community, both at school and at home. She was a member of the Future Business Leaders of America for 4 years, 2 of those as an officer. This summer, she is putting her well-earned and lauded talents for theater to use to create a community-based production of Macbeth. Already an accomplished writer with 2 novels under her belt, Kathleen plans to attend Sarah Lawrence College and pursue a career as either a history teacher or a lawyer. It is with great pleasure that we honor the Ruth Coombs Bogle Memorial Scholarship and its recipient this year, Kathleen Procopio. Finally, we have the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship. James Webster Coombs was a Little Compton school superintendent. This recipient demonstrates leadership characteristics and school community support, as well as scholastic achievements. Noel Armanansis is an accomplished musician and outstanding scholar. He has participated in all levels of band at Fort Smith High School while carrying a course load of honors and AP courses. In addition to acting as captain of the PHS sailing team, Noel has volunteered as a mentor at the Wilbur McMahon Lightning Robotics team for the past 3 years. He was also the lead programmer and technician for the Aquidneck Island Robotics team, which he has participated in for 4 years. The team placed 5th in the World Championships last year. It is through this group and his lifelong captivation of intricacies of technology that Noel has developed the foundation on which he plans to build with a computer science degree from Rochester Institute of Technology. After completing this program, Noel also plans to pursue graduate research to create innovative vision systems. It is with great honor that we present the James Webster Coombs Memorial Scholarship to Noel Armanansis. And I was sharing earlier that Noel's sister, Suyai, is the creator of this mural that we sit behind. So good work, Mom and Dad. Keep up the, no pressure, P-Man. Thank you all for coming to this. As I said, this is really a great night to celebrate the students, but also the families and those that are donors to these outcomes and these scholarships. So it really takes a collective effort and collaboration of everybody. And I'm just so proud to be able to be a small part in honoring you, your families, and your continued success in education. So go do great things. And as Ron said, there is no such thing as failure. There is no such thing as failure. Just keep learning, and that will lead to great things. Oh, thank you all.
Thank you.
At this time, I also want to say, if you want to stay, you can. But if you don't want to stay and you just came for the scholarship, which is totally understandable, you are more than welcome to enjoy the rest of your evening here in Little Compton.
You don't mind.
Yes, no worries at all. Thank you all for coming. We really greatly appreciate you. And then, Mariah, I will hand you this now before I forget.
Yeah, take care. See you, Mike.
Did such a good job of renovations. This is how I keep that.
Mariah, was there any sign for public input? Lori or Roger, any public input? Excellent. Then moving right along, it's the most wonderful time of the year. It is the beginning of the 2025-2026 school year, and we will turn it over to Principal McKinnon for preparations of this new school year.
Thank you, Chairperson Ali. And I do want to make this quick because we all know that Taylor Swift is dropping her podcast at 7 o'clock. We have that ready to go.
Okay, Roger.
In terms of the school being ready, I have to shout out quite a few people here. Certainly our custodial staff, Chris, Paul, and Jeff have just done an outstanding job. If you were down in this room a week and a half ago, it looks like a completely different room. And the rooms all along us and up top in the upper school are certainly being ready for the start of the school year. So kudos to those guys for the yeoman's work. They've done a fantastic job. I also have to shout out our main office staff, Darlene, Josh, and Mike, doing the little things behind the scenes that nobody really sees in terms of getting ready. I know Lori is going to talk about some of the things going on in the library in a little bit. You can hear off in the distance the new scoreboard that is up on the wall. Thank you, John and Josh, for getting that scoreboard up there. It certainly adds to the gymnasium, but schedules are ready to go. We're ready for opening day for the teachers coming back on the 25th with a PD day on the 26th, and students will be arriving on Wednesday, the 27th. Our kindergarten and preschools have in their open house next week on the 21st. That's Thursday. And I believe it's all starting around the 10 o'clock hour. The kindergarten parents and guardians, as well as preschool and pre-K students will be in here seeing the school for the first time. So other than that, we're ready to roll.
Awesome.
Sure are.
Thank you for shouting out the support staff,
Oh,
because
they-
I think people come in here and they're like, where is everything? It's like, there's a lot of,
That's the stuff you don't see.
yeah. Thank you, Principal McKinnon. Moving right along then to the superintendent report, Dr. Mitchell.
Hey, Jonathan, do you want to go to that link so we could bring up some photos? Start with some on page 3 and then page 1. Pictures worth 1,000 words. While we're bringing up Procore, which is the dashboard that the general contractor uses for all submittals, for all daily logging, for all photos. He's bringing that up right now. So that is what the library did look like. And as of today, maybe go to page 1 and look at some of those gorgeous. You want me to do it?
I just feel as well. There we go.
You have to scroll down and just shift it to page 1. Okay, go up there and you can see some of those accent walls. Everything is torn out. Just go to page 1 and we'll just do today's photos because everyone knew what it looked like in the past. Thank you so much, Johnson. Yep, so the library, as you know, that was part of our stage 2 submittal, renovating the library. It was called Reimagining the Library. And to make it more flexible, a flex space, we captured some space there for a teacher, another staff room. We've run out of meeting space now that we've had to bring special ed services into the district, and also science resources, and also non-public school textbook services into our space in the district. So we definitely needed more space there. So the library is coming along. It'll be substantially complete by the 22nd. They are, if you remember, that is where that Starship Enterprise was, a fixed casework that was just sort of taking up a lot of room. And if you go to the third page, you'll see some of the photos, the before photos regarding the water infiltration. There it is. Yeah, let's see, all the way down. Yeah, okay, let's start there. So that is what it used to look like, and you can see all of that yuck from standing water. That's gone. There'll be railing there with the powder-coated aluminum that the school committee, notably Mike Rocha, suggested. There's new runoff system there. They've added something from the roof that right there never existed before, right before the gravel way. So they're not done yet, but they're getting there. And they've made a lot of headway. So hopefully we will have no more standing water down near our kindergarten classroom door over there on the left. So all of these projects are moving along beautifully, actually, faster than we expected. And today we had sort of a kickoff of our PFAS mitigation project. That's a capital improvement project as well. We had the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank here. We had RIDO here, Department of Health. We had the executive director of both of those state offices. We had a lot of press we did not expect. Thank you, Travis, for your participation. We had the Providence Journal. We had I think a television crew. We started at the wellhead. We brought the group there. We ended in the water system room. We have that 3,000-gallon retention tank, the booster system for the water delivery system up to 5 buildings on the Commons. And our lead engineer from Haley and Aldrich joined us. Our project manager from the Infrastructure Bank joined us. It was a huge group. I think it was one of the biggest gatherings anyone has ever.
More than I thought.
It was more than I thought too. I would have worn a better suit. But I think it was a success. We are the farthest along in the state with that grant from the EPA. So we're seen as an exemplar in that regard. And definitely it's RIDO, the Infrastructure Bank, the school committee, and the district team. We've all worked together to make this happen. So yeah, it was a really good fit. That's where we are with our capital improvement projects. The HVAC went out to bid. That project, that is the 4 classrooms that are south-facing. And so we had a non-mandatory pre-bid meeting on site here on August 5th. We'll be accepting bids no later than 3 p.m. on August 21st. It's not a big job on the surface, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of infrastructure work, upgrading of the electrical panel, et cetera, et cetera. But what we've done with that is we've asked, we bid for 4 classrooms, so asking for an add alternate pricing for the other sides of the building, and we'll see what we can afford, what we can buy once the bids come in. But we're definitely doing 4, and if the bids come in low, we will do 5 or 6 of the classrooms south-facing and east-facing. So that'll be phase 1 of a 4-phase project to get every single classroom and common area air-conditioned in this building.
I have a question from Mr. McNamee about the bases.
Good.
The state recently put forth, I know it's based on income. I think if you make under 150,000 as a household, the heat pump credit is $11,500. Do we see any credit on that kind of stuff? Or is it because we're going through the housing aid that it's kind of like, hey, you guys are already getting a nice bite of the apple?
Yeah, I haven't seen that credit. The details on that, whether it
It
applies.
also might be residential application. I'm just saying, I just wasn't sure if there was maybe something for,
It wouldn't apply.
just curious. See, maybe there's a
I'm
different
not sure
basket.
where the source of that money is coming from.
You know, when somebody told me that, I was like, well, maybe they got something like that for municipalities. Doesn't always happen, but I figured I'd put it in your ear. Dr. Mitchell, thank you.
Oh,
All right, we'll turn it over to Mr. McNamee, wearing many hats in Little Compton these days, putting a lot of miles on that vehicle. Is that a lease? Or are we going to exceed the mileage?
I would definitely exceed.
You are boomeranging these days. Go ahead.
So we've completed the 24, let's just start there. We've submitted all the information on the town, school sites, the auditors have had all our information. So last week, the town, we submitted all the information, or probably 95% that they need to complete the audit. So we're expecting that audit will get a final report within the next 45 to 60 days. As far as the numbers go, on the school side, we're going to be showing a surplus of 61,962 for FY '24. As far as '25 goes, we're currently, we'll be getting all the information ready. We should submit everything for the school probably sometime in late September. And I'm hoping that we'll probably get most of the town information over to them by that time frame as well, too. Currently, we're looking at a anticipated surplus of 43,727 for FY '25 on the school side. Most of the payables I've been able to garner at this point. We still have not received a electric bill from Rhode Island Energy.
You're reading our minds. I'm not the only one thinking it.
We did recently get in some of the virtual net metering revenues. Virtual net metering invoices for the school side, and I'm going through those now. So we may have a little bit of expense that we may need to add to electricity for '25, but because basically we're paying, we're getting a credit for the full amount, and then we have to pay 65% of that credit because we're in effect getting a 35% discount on the virtual net metering. But we haven't seen the impact of the solar on that yet. And I think I explained at the last meeting, what's happening now is that we will end up getting those credits in dollars to our account. Because what the Rhode Island Energy doesn't want us to do is use kilowatt hours that we're generating in May and June to offset the higher expense kilowatt hours in January, December, so when the rates go up. So, but we haven't seen that number from the Rhode Island Energy at this point in time.
Question, just because I know municipalities are trending in that direction, is there any incentive for the state regarding storing in terms of batteries?
I haven't seen any at this point in time, but we can follow up on that. I mean, there's some infrastructure costs if we're looking at storing energy. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know it was bad, wasn't even on the radar a few years ago. It's becoming more and more, I don't want to say acceptable, but at least in the conversation, it's not it used to just be like, no, we're not even going to talk about
No, obviously the whole green energy situation is a little bit of a turmoil at this point in time. So right now with the anticipated surplus of 43,727 and we've been taking out the $150,000 transfer, which I'll be proposing a little later in the meeting. This would leave us with an accumulated surplus as of June 30th, 2025, of slightly more than $358,000.
And with the 150 going into the capital expenditure fund, what does that put our CapEx fund at?
For that one, we should be probably in the neighborhood of 550, I believe. That being said, we did receive good news the other day. My submission to the IRS was accepted, and we now have a registration number for the project. So we need to file a tax return on behalf of the town to get that investment tax credit money back.
Will that tax return be dependent on the audit? Just curious. Okay, excellent.
And am I finding enough time to do that tax return?
So you all set, Trent?
Yeah, go ahead.
So John, the 65-35 split that you're speaking of, that's the Warren project that you,
Our project, yeah. So that is being, there's a group out of Boston that is managing the billing for that, called Nextamp. And I realized at some point in time that those bills were being sent to the town. There is a bill there. We did receive one that was for the school, but I haven't been able to verify those numbers because I haven't seen the Rhode Island Energy bills to find out whether that credit is sitting on our account at this point in time. So I haven't paid that obligation on the school side. On the town side, I can see from their electric bills, I've had them analyze it, I can see the credit, and I'm matching that up against the bills that we're getting for the virtual net metering, which is the 65% that we have to pay. So that amount on the expense side, we're able to book on the town side. But
just as a refresher, because I know we've gone over this so many times, but the 65-35 split is one thing, and then the electricity that we're generating here at the school is something completely separate. So electricity that we are generating here at the school, do we foresee that offset in that 65%?
Yeah, I'm not sure how that's going to work, because what we're doing is we're paying that, we're seeing the full credit come onto our account. Then that 65 is then getting paid to those that basically they're collecting the money for the generation of that green energy. So if you look at the bill, you're going to be seeing a credit for the full amount. So I don't know how that 65% is going to work in. What I'm anticipating is that if we wind up having credits in excess of, or we have credits that are being generated by the solar in excess of that 65%, well, I should say that any solar that we're generating, if it exceeds the remainder of the electricity on those bills, we're going to wind up seeing $1 credit on the invoice. I was talking to the consultants I use in Lincoln, and there is an opportunity for us to get that cash back, as well, as opposed to letting that sit into that account. So I think there's an opportunity for us to see that cash come in, which then would help us to offset that 65%. But I don't think we're going to be able to offset it neatly.
But yeah, I was going to say, with the two different billers and not even getting a bill. Well, I hear what Michael's thinking. I mean, that would be ideal. But man.
So I got to wait for Rhode Island Energy, and it's not unusual. We did receive, we put solar on the physical education center in Lincoln. That went operational in November. I just recently received bills for January to March for Rhode Island Energy. And of course, it was during the winter, so you didn't generate that much
Yeah.
solar to offset it, so I'm out of pocket. But I haven't seen the recent invoices to see what the offset was, so. They're struggling with it, no question about
Rhode Island Energy is struggling with their billing. It's,
Oh, yeah,
it's hard to hear with these fans going, so I'm sorry.
it.
It's hard to hear with these fans going, but
Yeah, yeah.
and Rhode Island Energy is struggling with their billing. That's why we haven't got a bill yet.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the state has already stepped in and made some comments about it. And I know that we have some issues with some of the street lighting up in Lincoln, the billings coming out. They haven't been able to get billings out, and they acknowledge it. They acknowledge it, so.
I mean, I can't speak for the whole committee, but I've definitely received that they just changed my meter out when we got solar, and they're like, we're changing your meter again on the house. So I don't know where the disconnect is, but you're right. They got a handful of problems with just communicating. Well, I mean, more to the municipalities.
I mean, I think we're in a good spot. I'm not paying any of those energy bills until I can justify the credits being charged to our account.
Have we looked at production since the solar system went in? Where we're at compared to previous?
The solar, I haven't at this point in time, I don't know, John.
I can tell you the stats at least, but, I mean, you have to calculate it back out against the electric rate. We have generated 167 megawatt hours since it was turned on in November. Since January, it's 151 megawatt hours of electricity. And just to give you kind of a relative idea, we generated 8 megawatts in January, 12 megawatts in February, those two bills we did get. We are currently in the summer averaging about 7 megawatt hours through July.
That's a prime time.
So we're definitely, and what is do you know what our usage is in like a January?
I mean, I don't have the data for this year, but I think the previous year before we did the solar project, that's nearly 100% of our electricity.
Yes.
35,000 more kilowatt hours.
Typically a month.
We're producing 35,000 more.
No,
And
we use.
We use about 35,000 kilowatt hours or more per month. On average.
35.
So, yeah.
It's just amazing.
85% of our usage is being covered by the solar, roughly.
Even then, the building isn't at the capacity. Like isn't there usually AC in this one?
And here,
Wow, it's not that bad. I thought it was. Wow, it's not that bad. All right, never mind. Any other questions for John? And John, just like keep this is good that we have this dialogue and this ongoing conversation. I know that you're wearing a lot of hats, but one of the things you have done well is maintain the school, our general fund, our capital expenditures, and then this kind of communication with projects that are beneficial to not only the school, but then the offset to possibly the community. All right. Subcommittee reports, item 7.1. So there has definitely been conversations regarding having a policy subcommittee report. One thing I can say is that we are currently compliant with all federal and state law with our policies in place. There are things that we might want to explore. For example, I will say bell to bell, no cell phones. I know that it's not an issue, but I'm just spitballing with what people are saying. But right now, there is no policy that is out of line, like I said, at the federal level and or at the state level with the town of Little Compton. And thinking maybe in September we can get together.
Yeah.
Let the dust settle with getting you guys open, and then we'll get with Mariah and Carolyn regarding getting a meeting time, which will be conducive to getting parents in as well. Item 7.2, Portsmouth School Committee Liaison, Mr. Mark.
Thank you. We received an update just yesterday on the first official day of our new superintendent, Elizabeth Viveros, over there. looks like they've completed some projects, including the Hathaway playground. They seem to have a good summer program going. Ag Innovation Farm. There is an event for Portsmouth families to meet the superintendent on Friday, August 22nd from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Melville Playground. So perhaps some of our families may want to attend. Other than that, the last meeting they talked about spring sports, which I covered. So there's not really much to report from Portsmouth.
Awesome.
When is that? When's the meeting of the new superintendent?
It is Friday, August 22nd from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Melville Playground. It's a very casual chance to say hello. So yeah.
How do we push that out to our high school parents? You did get one from Portsmouth?
Mary Elizabeth sent it out and forwarded this to everybody.
From Portsmouth, but our people got it done. Okay. Mary Elizabeth is ours. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Wellness Committee liaison, Ms. Sue had a family obligation tonight. That being said, is there anything to report, or do you know when the next wellness meeting will be? I know you sit in that sometimes, Lori.
Yeah, sit on it.
We don't have a date.
We don't have a date set.
Town Recreation Committee, Mr. Mark.
The Town Recreation Committee has not met recently. There are no new updates at this time. A lot of great usage this summer for fields, a lot of cool things that were happening, but nothing new to report, just stuff that can be found on the calendar. Things going around town. Yeah,
Excellent.
sure.
And then in terms of the negotiation subcommittee report, the negotiations with the teachers union are ongoing. We will keep you posted as we get closer to finalizing that. Action items 8.2. Consider vote to discuss, vote, and approve transfers from the general fund to capital fund. Mr. John McNamee, do you want to highlight this? I know there was an interesting wrinkle in there. It said maybe may get an extra little kick. Is there an incentive behind how we can get that?
Well, this is basically to transfer into the capital reserve funds in order for us to complete existing projects. So this plus the investment tax credits certainly going to allow us to be able to complete the projects that we have on the drawing boards in which we get housing aid for going forward. So this year when we completed basically the solar, I used the existing PAYGO fund, so it basically got the housing aid early, so we didn't have to apply for that. So that's already in the bank. So this is going to allow us to basically have those funds that we need set aside in the capital reserve so that it clearly demonstrates that we do have the funding capability to complete those projects.
In terms of capturing that, what was it, an extra 17% possibly? What was the, hold on, I have it right.
No, our reimbursement is
35.
Would be 17.5% higher with bonus incentives that are in there. So if you recall, last year, we had to put together an approval saying that there are certain projects that we would approve that we would be able to complete within this 5-year cycle.
Correct.
That if we had engineering reports or approvals, we could then get the additional incentives that were expiring. So even though they were sunsetting as of last year, as long as we basically put in a kind of a purchase order for these things, we don't necessarily have to get them done, but we had some things that we put on the list, we will be able to take advantage of the incentives that were in place as of last year, 6/30/24.
Just per your letter, excuse me, that seems to be You mentioned the sale of bonds, but that's not our play. Being funded through the sale of bonds.
Yeah, we're not gonna be doing anything to the sale of bonds.
Okay.
We can't issue bonds, the town would have
Yeah,
to.
you have to go before the town. So it's good, to John's point, it's great that, I can think of two things. One, it's great that we have a capital expenditure fund in which we're reimbursed 35 cents on every dollar spent, and we can keep keep reimbursing that fund to do projects within the school and not go before the taxpayer. And then the PFAS, which everybody was celebrating today, and they're really trying to get other communities to participate. That grant funding is something that if we didn't capture in the window of time that still exists, but we were, to your credit, Dr. Mitchell, was out ahead of it, as was our engineers, the Department of Health, and the Infrastructure Bank. We would be going before the taxpayers and saying, Little Compton's unique. That was one thing that perked up today. Whoa. The well does, oh yes, all the buildings, not just the school, the fire barn, first building, the Grange, Oddfellows Hall, Community Center, and Town Hall. So it is awesome that we were able to capture that and not have to have that burden fall on the stakeholders of the community.
I think, to Mark's point on the bonds, we did refinance the school bonds, which were for the existing ones. So there was a reduction in debt service, which obviously the town was able to take advantage of in the 26 budget. And going forward, we're going to see an overall savings of over 200,000 over the next 10 years on those bonds in terms of overall debt service. But that is going to wind up going over to the town side.
Glad they acted when they had the opportunity.
Charles, one second.
Go ahead, Michael.
So John, the incentives that were sunset and are equal to 17.5% that would be carried out because of the 5-year schedule. Do I understand that correctly?
Yeah, we have the potential to take advantage of certain incentives that would be sunsetting. So depending on the project, if they qualify, we could get up to a maximum of 17.5% more in bonuses. The health and safety, I believe, is the one that's continuing, and that's 5%. So that's kind of an automatic.
That's the 40, 35 to 40, yeah.
40. But RIDE doesn't let you go more than half of what your base amount is. So if your base amount is 35, we get to 17.5. Some districts, like in Lincoln, were at like 49 and change. So we could go up to 24, but they're not enough to get 24% incentive. So there was a minimum, there was 20% in incentives that you could get. We can max out at 17.5, assuming those projects comply with each of the incentive bonuses.
And that's over just for the 5-year period that we.
That's only for those projects that we indicated that we were going to be able to do in that 5-year period.
Right. Okay. I'll come back. I have another question, but I'll come back. It's not on this, so go ahead. Thanks.
All right. Well, that being said, Amy, Mark, do you have any other questions, or can we consider a motion to approve the transfer from the general fund to the capital fund of $150,000?
I'm all set.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. The motion carries. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Item 8.3. It's that time of year again. School McKinnon and merry group of administrators are in there banging out the student handbook and the employee handbook. First, we will consider, discuss, and vote to approve the 25-26 Wilbur McMahon student handbook draft. Are there any changes you want to highlight? Or is there any committee members that have questions regarding the changes I myself went through?
I'll make this real quick. A couple of things I think just wanted to put out there. It's pages 8, 9, just made an adjustment to the tardy protocol. After the fifth tardy, there will be a detention that's served. Just 5 minutes of school every day is 2 weeks of school over the course of a year. So it's important that we address that. We did have a couple of chronics. So we are going to add that. The cell phone policy, Travis, that you talked about, the state is pushing that out for September of 2026. We'll make that decision at the time. Right now, the issue we have with cell phones, there are little, if any, issues. We talked to our kids last year, and we said basically we don't want to see the square in their pockets. Put it in their lockers, and I think we had one issue during the school year here in school. Obviously, there are issues that take place outside of school that you can't control, but for the most part, it's not an issue. But based on the state law, for next September 26th, we'll address that moving forward. We did add on page 13, we added AI, using AI to plagiarism. AI is not going away. Students who use it, they just got to make sure that they are recognizing it if they're writing a paper about it. And the other thing that I thought was kind of important is protocols to dismissal. It's on page 15. I don't know if it actually belongs there, but we were getting a lot at the end of the year, kids coming down to the main office to change their dismissal, how they were doing it, particularly the older students. We are getting away from that. I mean, if we know in the morning or the parent calls during the day, it's not a problem, but we're not going to be changing it at 2:45 in the afternoon because we don't know. What parents exactly.
So can I ask, what's an example of what was happening? I guess.
So students would come down, I'm just going to throw out a number, like at say 2:30, saying that I want to go over so-and-so's house. Can I call my mother, and do that? It became an issue when it was happening later on in the day, particularly when we have buses here, students getting ready or actually being on the buses, and we're calling parents. And, there are times we're able to raise parents, other times, you can't. But bottom line is, if they know, all the parent has to do is call during the day, and we can do that. But it's not the kids who are going to change it at the end of the day. That's the reason for it. It became an issue in the main office towards the tail end of the year.
We're addressing that by.
Just bottom line is, if a student if they have a note from a parent in the day, obviously we'll honor it. But if they're coming down to school at the end of the day to change their dismissal and where they're going, it's not going to fly.
Should we have a set time so everybody's on the same page, knowing that if the parents need to change something or.
Listen, if a parent calls, even if it's at 2:45, we can change it.
Okay.
It's the students that are coming down, say, can I call my mom to change my dismissal?
Go over Mark's house after we had lunch, and he said that we should go over and do something.
Exactly. Parents can call anytime. I mean, as long as the kids aren't on the bus, if they call us, we'll recognize it right away. We want to get it done earlier in the day, but for students to come down and change it, it's a safety issue, particularly at the end of the day when we're trying to get people on the correct buses, particularly the younger kids. But this is not a younger student issue. This is more of an upper school issue.
Is there something that we should put out? And I understand what you're saying, because families' lives change daily, things change daily, and I understand that. Should we put out something that we ask that if they want to make a change, that it be done by a certain time and not?
I think there is something in there, Mike, off the top of my head. I think we try to tell parents to have it, to the main office. Again, I'm throwing it on 1:30, 2:00, somewhere in there. Obviously, if they call, we know emergencies happen. It's not a big issue. We'll get in touch with the students and say to them, you're going on bus 6 to your cousin's house, or, whatever it may be. I think there is something in there. Obviously, the earlier in the day, the better, because Michael Ayotte or Josh or sometimes Darlene, they do put out to the teachers what the dismissal plans are and any changes to it. It's hard when you're a fourth grade teacher and you've got, your students in the class and plans change. It's hard to kind of keep track of it.
You say it's in there, you're talking about the handbook you're referring to, the time?
Yes.
It says a written note should be, like best practice is in here, that a written note should be sent in the morning.
Mhm.
But
As you said, a parent can
things
call
come up.
anytime.
Parent can call anytime.
The chances you're gonna get, 20 parents calling at
It
2:45.
doesn't happen.
But the kids understanding how to game the system and saying, hey, let's go to so-and-so's house.
Mhm.
School,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Mhm.
let's go down and
Yeah.
I'm getting on the bus. Well, I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Just call your parents.
Yeah.
Love the children. Question, what does detention go for these days?
The time?
Yeah, how long does?
Back in the day, what was it, 2 hours when you were in detention?
Yeah, middle school, I think it was an hour, and then high school, you really didn't want to get
No,
detention.
high school's probably an hour. You know what? The younger the kids, the shorter the time. Maybe a half hour for, if there is a detention at the younger level. For the most part, it's not the younger level. Probably 45 minutes to an hour.
And do the same detention rules, as I recall, still apply, where you get to do your homework or?
It's usually in my office,
Oh,
that the kids, and I'll just say, take some work out, we'll have a conversation. It's a good time to have a conversation with them.
all right, so if it's usually, that would have been my next question. Our detention had no windows. It was it was a real small room. Detention and in-school suspension were not the room you want.
It's not that bad.
Does anyone else have any other questions for Principal?
Did you have anything else that you wanted to highlight for us?
No, those are the main ones.
Okay.
There is it's another issue, excuse me, that came up through the course of the year. More and more of our students are wearing the flip-flops and the slides. And you know what? That's a danger, particularly when they're out at recess and they're running around. So we're gonna kind of crack down on it a little bit. Just so they're not wearing the flip-flops in school. It should be something that covers their heel. So that if they are running around out at recess, they're not tripping and falling over themselves. But that's already in the handbook. We're just gonna highlight it a little bit more.
Fall under that.
Crocs are okay because
Okay.
they do have that little
They have
thing in the back.
They get the little,
But some of the slides, as you know, and flip-flops certainly are a danger.
Did have one question.
Please.
And I know this is a draft, and you'll have to forgive me for not knowing the system, but I just also saw the only students eating breakfast will be allowed in the cafeteria. But I'm assuming that in the morning, if you are choosing to be inside there and you request it, there's an alternate placement for you to go if.
Listen, if it's certainly cold or if it's raining, we're inside anyways. No, the breakfast area is really for students who are having breakfast. The kids come on the bus at 8:00, 8:05, or being dropped off. We're usually outside with them. It's just so that we don't have one person down there and there's 100 kids in the cafeteria. It's really mainly for the students, both the primary level and the upper level, to have, some breakfast, whatever they would like and whatever we're offering. And it's not necessary for students just to come in there and to socialize. You can do that outside.
Excellent. Thank you, Principal McKenna.
No problem.
Do I have a motion to approve the draft of the 25-26 Wilbur McMahon School Student Handbook?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Michael, did you? Aye. Yep. Motion carries 4-0. Mariah? Item 8.4, consider, discuss, and vote to approve the 25-26 Little Compton School Department Wilbur McMahon School Employee Handbook draft.
one thing that has changed, there's the date.
Thoughts on? I almost reached out, but I figured.
Is this,
All right.
I have a silly question.
Date is correct.
25-26.
Is this a document that should be approved before the contract is in place? Is there a connection between these two things?
What's that?
This is more of
Go
a
ahead.
question for legal counsel, maybe.
Well, Lori, Mark, ask your question.
I just wonder if this is something we should approve before the contract is in place, or if maybe there'll be amendments to it or other things that come up during that time. Does this
I
seem
think so, Mark.
mature?
It's usually on as a courtesy. You don't even have to vote on it generally. Same thing with the student handbook. It's not a state mandate. So this is just to give you a heads up that we created this, I want to say maybe 5 years ago. We found some exemplars throughout the country and just sort of, synthesized all the best language that we could find and definitely localized it. But there's nothing in an employee contract that would impact any changes.
Excellent. I will consider a motion to approve the 25-26 Little Compton School Department Wilbur McMahon School Employee Handbook Draft.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-0, carries Mariah. And item 5, are there any member requests for information or administration legal counsel? I do have one, and it's just kind of a general feedback question. I sit on the Commons Town Committee project, and while we're discussing all these buildings, the school did come up as, are there needs that we have in terms of spacing? The only thing that I could really elaborate on without having this type of forum was that I know that there are times where we're kind of trying to find things for some of our materials, i.e. like the science kits.
Yeah.
And placement for those. So if there is something that the school might need in terms of storage and or space, whoa, don't get too.
Our eyes are lighting up.
Serious.
We meet on Mondays at 4 p.m. but feel free to come by and share your concerns. I didn't really know what there was. I know that like we're always trying to find space, but I know we're also not a school that we're like, hey, that classroom is used for 3 different classrooms and we got to get you out of here because this class is coming in. I know maybe with the cafeteria that's the case, but I thought I shared that I thought we were pretty fortunate here, but if you all can spin your wheels and see if there's something that you would like to share, because the committee is asking all organizations within town, the school being one of those departments, are there needs beyond the space that you currently inhabit, whether it be a shared space and or your own individual space, school, wellness center, stay at home, the Brownell House, these types of spaces. So if there is something,
One word, storage. Storage. I think with the renovation of the bond-funded renovation 10, 12 years ago. So from what I hear, some of the storage space was, used for common spaces and et cetera. So we truly are at a loss at this point. And that $50,000 grant that we got that we're sharing with makers.
yes, great example.
All of that came in, and we had to clean out another space, and that all happened within the past few days. So some of it will be shared with the makers. They can take some of that and offer programming to our kids, so that might help us quite a bit. But it is at a premium here. We do have a storage unit out there. We got it during the pandemic because we made some purchases like the tent and the things like that, the canopy and wheels, and we had no place to put them. We had kids outside in learning areas constantly. But even that is packed now. It's storage, definitely.
All right. If you want to elaborate further, feel free to send Carol Wardell an email. But I can certainly pass along that storage piece. You're not alone in that thought. And then more importantly, if the school is going to continue to collaborate with any town organization, and there's going to be items or product brought in some fashion, where it goes, especially when you use the makers as an example, where they're already in a shared space, right? You
Right.
see the Odd Fellows, they don't have like a dedicated makers space.
We'll be meeting with Wendy and Heather and members of the board there to figure out our collaboration.
Awesome.
I got one thing just to follow up with John.
Go ahead, Michael.
John, in light of this new being recognized through the IRS and you got to do the tax filing and what have you, I know there was some uncertainties of what our final bill was going to be on our solar at the end, on our solar project here. I know you had given some anticipated numbers earlier on, and then there was some uncertainties with reimbursements. Do you know where we're going to stand with that? Is there anything clearer on that?
And now that the investment credit has been confirmed, then it'll be what it was. I think it was like $22,000.
I was gonna say 21, like 98, but it's, I always say under 22, if that comes in.
That'll-
It is
So
going
that's coming in.
That's remarkable.
So that's going to be a good number that we can fall back on at that 21,000 number based on.
Other than that, I will consider a motion to adjourn. So moved. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming tonight. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and congratulations on what will be the start of school in a couple weeks.
to.